right. We are live on stream. We're live on radio in 5, 4, 3.
And welcome back, folks, here to the Michigan Insider on the Big 1050, WTKA, online at thebig1050.com. And welcome to another edition of the Michigan Basketball Insider on all of our social channels, on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter. You know how we get down. We love it when we have our guy, Timmy Mack, with us. He was a star at Clarkston High School before becoming an outstanding player at the University of Michigan and then becoming a first-round draft pick and now one of the best basketball commentators in the land. But he's just our guy. He's just Timmy Mack. I'm talking about Tim McCormick. Tim, how you doing this morning?
I am fantastic. I cannot wait for this weekend. I love our team. I've so thoroughly enjoyed every moment of every game, and I'm really confident. I like the matchups, and I think that Saturday is going to be an unbelievable game, maybe one of the best games with the most at stake that we've ever seen.
Yeah, Tim, I got to go back to before the season, like I did with Mike Boynton, with Akeem Miskdeen, coaches on the team who, and just by nature, coaches don't boast before the season, not publicly anyway. They're just a little more reserved. Everyone's optimistic, but not saying, hey, we're going to the final weekend. But those guys it was different with this team. And they were talking in those terms about this year and this Michigan basketball team. And so too, Tim, were you. And I know you don't boast. You're not out there screaming at the, in the shouting matches, but about this team, you were like, Sam, this is a Final Four caliber team, and here they are, Tim, just like you thought.
I saw them for the first time in September, and I walked away thoroughly impressed with a lot of things: the skill level, the depth, the ability to play defense. But the thing that really sold me, and it goes back to my playing career, on every team that's good, there's a guy that when you walk into Mackey Arena or the Breslin or wherever, when you walk in, you say, I'm with him. You just know that you're going to be okay, that they are not going to let you fail. And I walked away and I say, you know who that guy is on this team? It's Marez Johnson. Like you walk into Assembly Hall and you need somebody that's going to step forward and say, don't mess with my guys. And I'm going to make big plays, and a loose ball is mine. When I was playing, I always felt that guy was Patrick Ewing. Like when you went into Boston Garden, I'm with him. Okay. and the thing that makes this team special is I never thought that guy was Axel Lendeborg until last weekend. The big shots that he's making, and I know you and I have talked about it. Like, he's got to step up. He can't have these games where he only takes 5 shots. He has learned, and that really is why he came to Michigan. He said it. I want to learn how to be a professional. I want to learn how to be great. And he's done that. And his shooting right now is world class. He's shooting like Nick Stauskas or Trey Burke in the clutch. His ball does not even hit the rim. And if he can continue that, that's why I have so much optimism for this team, because I just feel like he's going to be the best player on the court no matter who they play against.
He's been the best player in this tournament. And you love that a guy with that talent that could have been a first-round draft pick comes to a team and makes it about the team. He has goals. He has goals and aspirations that go beyond the University of Michigan. I mean, that's another reason why he learned to be a pro, increase his draft stock, right? And so there are a lot of guys in that scenario where that objective would be the primary objective. And that's never been the case for him, Tim. And yet, like you said, like Mike Boynton said, like we've heard Dusty say, there's an element of being the guy that is unselfish, that is helpful in the team concept. So it's not that you get the ball and you're going for yours no matter what it means for the rest of the team. You're going for yours because of what it means for the rest of the team. And there's a difference, Tim.
I'm going to make a comment, and I think it may be controversial, and your callers may light it up and want to talk about it. But to me, and I've watched Michigan basketball since 1972, that Yaxel Lendeborg is the most versatile two-way player in the history of Michigan basketball. So I'm not saying he's better than Rudy T or Cazzie Russell or Chris Webber or Jalen Rose, but the ability to do all of the things that he does makes him so versatile. And what do I mean by that? He can pick up point guards, but he can also cover centers. He's becoming a leader. He's a really good passer. He can bring the ball up the court. He can nail threes. He can go to the post. He wants the ball in clutch situations. Gary Grant, really good two-way player. Gary didn't lead his team to possibly a national championship. I mean, there's a lot of great players, Trey Burke, but nobody does all of the things that he does better than him.
Yeah, it's an interesting conversation that the way that he's playing in this tournament doesn't make it outlandish, Tim. I know you said people but he has ascended in a way offensively where his alpha mentality on the offensive end of the floor, because all year he's been like, give me the best player on the other, to the extreme of if the coaches call, hey, we're switching everything. He's like, no, we're not. No, I got this guy. Like that's the alpha mentality that you want from him all the way around, or want it from him all the way around. And now he's that offensively and still in a way that benefits the team, not just him, still getting 6-7 dimes a game. Like you say, now he's knocking down threes. The things you didn't know he could do at UAB. You didn't know that he could be effective as a guy from out to 3-point range and putting it on the deck. You didn't know he could be effective as a setup man, because I think, to me, Yaxel Lendeborg is the backup point guard, Tim. And you didn't know he could be such a versatile defender where he could defend all 5 positions. So, Tim, I'm not going to leave you out there on that limb. I'm not going to say that this is totally outlandish. Tim, I think you might have a point. One, though, that I think is stamped if they win the national championship.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, if he goes out there on Saturday and shoots 1 for 7 and we get blown out, I have to say, maybe I overblew his value. But I mean, I can keep adding things that he does. He's a little bit fun and a little bit goofy out there, and that makes everybody a little bit at ease. He seems to have the ability in transition to start a drive at 30 feet from the basket, and he's not giving it up, and nobody can stop him. He's one of the best rundown shot blockers I've ever seen. If somebody's got a layup and I'm thinking, okay, where's Yaxel? He's probably flying in out of nowhere, blocking the shot. There's so many things that he does, and you're right. He's got to finish this.
Yeah. And so, Tim, you look around and you wanted to see him sort of rise to that level, raise his sort of approach, his aggressiveness to that level. But to me, this is all, while that was part of his personal journey and arc over the course of the season, I feel like there was a collective arc after LJ Kaysen goes down where every guy has an elevated role. And so they have to settle into that. And I think it took them some games before everyone, that role definition was really there. Like, hey, Yax, he's the guy. Give him the ball, let him go to work. He can be the setup man, the backup point guard. Trey is your backup sort of ball handler, if you will, but still is going to come out on a nightly basis and not let that affect his offense. Going to give you 10, 12 points. And now he's getting to the rim. Elliot Cadeau, Tim, more minutes, no foul trouble, giving the team whatever it needs, whether it's scoring or being a setup man, even defending. And then Roddy Gale. What can we say about Roddy Gale? Tim, it's one of the best stories on this team.
I saw Phil Martelli 4 weeks ago at the A10 tournament, and we had a really good conversation. And I said, what surprises you the most about this team? And his answer was fascinating. He said, I am shocked that Roddy Gale in his senior year, with all of the skill that he has fit into his role seamlessly as a support guy off the bench. That's the kind of thing that makes championship teams. He could not make a shot last year from three in January and February. He couldn't make one this year. And now all of a sudden, just by elevating his role, he's reliable, and he's a really good defensive player, and he makes championship caliber players. And I will always think fondly of Roddy Gale as a basketball player based on what he's done both on and off the court. He's a great leader. He can play multiple positions, fantastic defensive player. But the other things that he does, he plays his role. He sets really good screens. He throws crisp passes. You know he's going to be the first one on the floor. Roddy Gale, Namari Burnett, and Will Cheddar 2 years ago won 8 games, and now they're in the Final Four.
That's an outstanding point. And you said he couldn't make a three. I think Mike Boynton said it best yesterday. He said, Sam, you're being too kind. Roddy couldn't do anything. He couldn't make a layup. He couldn't dribble. He couldn't do anything for a span of the season. And he put it all together. So never changed his attitude. He showed up every day. He went to work and said, I'm going to work my way out of this. And credit to the coaching staff for allowing him to get up off the mat. If you keep working, you'll keep playing, was basically the message. And that's exactly what they did.
Yeah, Sam, I'd like to share a couple of things. I attended practice on Wednesday, and I was particularly interested in how Dusty May and the staff would handle practice. You're on the verge of playing in the Sweet 16. So how much do you do? Are you worried about injuries? Are you worried about tiring your guys? I didn't know. And I sat there in awe because they went for 90 minutes, and it was one of the hardest practices that I've seen all year. I've seen 13 practices, and this was the hardest. They had 3 different scrimmage sets that were full court and aggressive. They spent a lot of time drilling on fundamentals, getting ready for Alabama, pick and roll defense, boxing out, pursuing long rebounds. They went so darn hard. And afterward, I asked Yaxel, I said, well, how you feeling? He said, I am exhausted, man. That's like a November practice. Mm-hmm. And that's their superpower, Sam. That's what elevates them. They work harder than everybody else. They are very competitive. They're very intense. And the coaches give them more. Like, if you've got guys that want to fight and compete and battle, let them go. Another point that I think is worthy is when I walked in the gym before practice, there were only 2 players on the court, and Yaxel Lendeberg and Roddy Gale are shooting buddies. They shot 3 after 3 after 3 by themselves, and their shots look great. And I thought during the game, why wouldn't their shots go in tonight? Because they've been paying their dues. They get there every day early and shoot a ton of threes. That makes me smile.
Yeah, that's big time. I remember watching them in the preseason getting to like these 3-point shooting contests, and I remember talking about it like, yeah, it's fun to see this team come together. So, Tim, I want to talk about Arizona. Before we do, I didn't get your take on the Tennessee game specifically because wow, it was just such a bloodletting. But just your thoughts on the run up to this point, but specifically the matchup with Tennessee that was over at halftime.
I was worried about Michigan, Alabama. I thought they had the firepower and the weaponry to cause problems for Michigan. At no point did Tennessee ever bother me, even after they got off to a pretty good start. I feel like Gillespie's a good ball player, but he's a small point guard that's not a great shooter. I didn't think that they could hold Michigan below 75 points, and they didn't have the offensive weapons to beat Michigan in a 75-point game. Now, if Tennessee could have kept Michigan in the 60s, I would have worried about that, but not that game. Michigan has too many weapons, and they're playing too confidently. It was a mismatch.
Yeah, I was right there with you. It was the commentary exactly. If Tennessee can keep it in the 60s, they have a chance. Michigan can play that game and win that game, of course. But that's the chance that Tennessee has. If this game gets into the mid to high 70s or the 80s, Michigan's winning by double figures. That's exactly what happened. So it sets up, Tim, the matchup of the two teams who have been the most impressive in this tournament. Most people consider these the two best teams the two best teams in this tournament heading in. And the team that Michigan's been looking up at in the majority of the season in the standings and the rankings, that is the Arizona Wildcats. So, Tim, see a bunch of intriguing matchups in this game. See some mirror aspects of this team. Give me your breakdown of the Wildcats.
So I think Michigan beats Arizona. I really do. I love the fact that we have the massive size to battle one of their strengths. Arizona's overpowered people with their big guys, but Michigan can cover the paint. Here's a huge key: Merez Johnson and Adai Mara cannot get in foul trouble. They cannot. Okay, and if I've said this to you multiple times this year, I would tell both of them, get to the first TV timeout with no fouls. Okay, no matter what happens, do not foul. Just go straight up. If you have to give a layup, give a layup. Your value is on the court, and they've got to stay out of foul trouble. The other thing is Michigan's advantage is that they are powered by juniors and seniors, guys that are older, they're more physically dominant, and 43% of Arizona's points come from freshmen. Now, Koa Pete is a really good freshman, and Braden Burries he's lottery. They're both lottery picks, but Arizona does not shoot well. Well, I guess they shoot okay, but they just don't take a lot of threes. Right. That's going to be very, very important. I love the point guard battle. Jaden Bradley is the Big 12 Player of the Year. Okay, and Elliot Cadeau is a standout in his own right, and he's had a great tournament so far. That's a battle that's going to be really important to watch. And then also, I'm not sure how Arizona is going to match up with Yaxel. If he's the aggressive Yaxel, I love his ability to take over this game.
Yeah, so you talked about the foul situation, and you're 100% right. This is one of the most important stats in the game. And Adai's second foul was one of those fouls where you're like, come on, man. This is the kind of foul that you absolutely cannot have, especially if, Dusty said it best. Right now, the way that they treat him, he's going to pick up one of those fouls that you're like, what the heck was that? Right? So it makes the fouls that are legitimate, it magnifies the significance of those. So you cannot pick up that foul. But here's where I want to give him credit. I want to give Merez credit. They played like long stretches of the first half with 2 fouls. They managed it. And Merez's were not, cheapies. Adai's, one of them was a cheapie. He came in after Merez got his second foul and played the rest of the half like you want him to play. Really sound defense, didn't foul. That's the kind of play, being cognizant of that you need from the bigs in this game, Tim.
If both Michigan big men have 1 foul going into half, the second half, they're going to try to block everything. And it's going to be a nightmare for Arizona. Sam, when you were a little kid, did you ever help your mom in the kitchen?
I was, not really, but I'll go with you for the sake of this story.
When I was young, my mom had these big baking gloves, right, where you could reach in and grab a casserole out. Earlier this year, Michigan's big guys put those big gloves on their hands when they were in a defensive drill to try to teach them, don't reach. You've got these gloves on, you can't steal it anyway. I would almost give them at the start of this game those big baking gloves and say, look, this is what you have to wear on defense until you get to the first TV timeout. If they do that, I like their chances.
Yeah, man. And so matchups, the matchup between Elliot Cadeau and Jaden Bradley of all, and there are some intriguing matchups across the board. The center matchup I think is very intriguing, but this is one where I'm gonna have my popcorn ready because Elliot Cadeau in this postseason, I think, has been playing the kind of basketball that you want. You want Elliot Cadeau to play consistently all year, and he's shown spurts where he was the best point guard on the floor in the Michigan State game up in East Lansing, right? You've seen those moments. He has done an excellent job of playing the point guard game that his team needs. Whether it's, hey, we need him to, force the issue, scoring the basketball, getting to the rim. We need him to hit some threes. We need him to defend. Whatever it is, we need him to give us attitude. Whatever they needed, he's given them in this postseason. And part of that has been he wants to prove all these guys, all these point guards, they got all this recognition, and he got none of it on one of the top teams in the country. Yeah, I'm right up there with those guys. Well, this is the biggest challenge yet, Tim, and that makes it even more intriguing to me.
Remember early in the season, we were just terrified that this team was going to be turnover prone like last year. They would throw the ball away, they would be undisciplined, and that's a hard thing to change, and they've done it. The two big concerns: can they make threes? Will they turn the ball over? Those have not been an issue at all. I think you do need a big boy approach in this game, and you've got to have the discipline to avoid the stupid turnovers. Okay, we had some really dumb passes to start the game, cross court telegraphed passes that were picked up and gave Tennessee 5 of their first points. That can't happen in this game. It's too big of a stage, and I don't think they will. After those 2 really quick turnovers, Michigan only had 6 total turnovers the rest of the game. That against Tennessee, are you kidding me? That's a tough physical program. And Michigan just they were like a fly at a picnic. Just get off my shoulder. You're bothering me a little bit, but they were never a major concern.
Tim, what do you think about the Mara Krivas matchup?
I love Krivas. I think that guy is so good. He's physical. He's tough. I think that's a great matchup. There's great matchups everywhere, but Krivas is the kind of guy that if Michigan gets in foul trouble, somehow he's going to be behind it because he's a pest. He's physical. He's tough. He's aggressive, and I think he's really smart too.
You think Adai is capable of getting better position? Like it feels like every time he catches the ball, he has to take 4 or 5 dribbles to get into his move because he's catching it so far out. You think that's something that he could do a better job of?
Well, you and I have talked about it a number of times this year that I would encourage Adai Mara to get better position, to fight, to walk towards the rim and then seal your man and get your heels on the 3-point line, get your heels on the block, I should say. And if you do that, then he's starting at a position where he's going to dominate. If you told me that Adai Mara would be the best player on the court Saturday, I'd say, yeah, I see that. I can see that happening.
Yes, but he's got to. Yeah, part of it is the work he does before he gets the basketball in this game. Because I wonder. I would test it to see how they play it. Like they're going to play him straight up. They think they have the horses to do it. But Adai, he's gotten to the point offensively, and we'll know early in the game. Like if he can get it going against this team, now how do they react? How do they react? Can you get them to the point where they feel like they got to help? If you do that, then that 3-point shooting disparity that we see on paper, I think becomes that much more pronounced because Michigan can get some good looks out of that. That's what I would probe to see that.
I see that, Sam. And let's go old school. I don't think that Adai Mara plays his best ball with a Charles Barkley approach Remember, Charles didn't have to fight for position. He'd catch the ball at 14, 15 feet, and his back is way in like a human battering ram. But that's not really good for a dive, because when you think about it, he is so tall. When he's dribbling to get better position, think about when the ball leaves his hand, goes down and touches the floor, and comes all the way back to his hands. There's a lot of opportunity for a guard like Jaden Bradley to time that up and get in there. And Adai has lost a few balls when he gets to the paint, because there's probably like 2 seconds from the time the ball leaves his hand, hits the floor, and comes back up. If he starts with better low post position, that won't be an issue. There won't be any time for the help defense to come.
Yep. So a few things so we can get you out of here and get your keys to the game. Tim, I want to get these from the crowd. Mr. Martini asked you, Tim, on YouTube, says, Tim, who will be the X factor in this game?
There's two guys that I would love to see be the X factor, and they're both seniors, and they've both paid their dues and deserve to have a banner in Chrysler Arena, and that's Namari Burnett and Roddy Gale. I want to see them as outliers, guys that get double figures in a really big game. And remember, the scouting report for Tommy Lloyd in Arizona is stop Yaxel, be physical with Mara, be physical with Merez Johnson. And so if you're the fourth or fifth option on a team, it's hard to operate there. You're not getting consistent touches, but if they can get 10 points plus, that I have no doubts Michigan wins that game.
Jennifer Davis Smith, hey Jim, how you doing? On YouTube says, how hard will it be to transition to shooting in a football stadium? Will it be like shooting on a court at the playground?
My rookie year, I played at the King Dome in Seattle, and the entire year, I never got used to shooting in a dome. I think it's really hard, but there's not a huge difference between the Lucas Oil Field and the space in Chicago. I don't think that the United Center is going to be that much more difficult, and Michigan's perimeter shooting seemed to navigate it really well. I mean, Yaxel does not miss right now. And when was the last time you saw Trey McKinney miss a mid-range jump shot? It's been a long time, Sam.
Yeah, you haven't. He's been money in the mid-range, and now he's also getting to the rim as well. It makes him that much harder to guard. So, all right, Tim, you already said you think Michigan's going to win this game. Give me and you went over some, but let's put them all together, your keys to the Michigan victory.
First of all, no foul trouble for Merez and Adai Mara. Stay on the court, stay relevant the whole game. Yaxel's got to be the most outstanding player. He's playing like it. He's got the ability. He's knocking on the door of Michigan basketball greatness. He needs to just stomp that door down and take what's yours. And then also, I think Michigan's got to win with pace. If they can get out in transition, get some easy baskets. Arizona is a good defensive team, and it's going to be difficult to score over 40 minutes if you're just banging your head against that defense the whole game. So get some easy points, offensive rebounds, and transition.
Tim, does the winner of this game win the national championship?
I actually feel more confident that we'll beat Arizona than about Illinois or UConn. I would feel confident about UConn. I think Illinois is going to be really hard, and a lot of people will say, "Hey, if Michigan, if you beat Arizona, you're the national champ." I would worry about that. That's not the right mentality. I think Illinois is playing great.
They're playing great. It'll be interesting to see how they fare in this battle against a team that can beat them up physically and really make those very skilled bigs tax them, but also can score well enough to make them pay. You didn't have teams that could put those elements together in the way that Michigan did, for instance. So
yeah. I would worry about Illinois. I would not worry about UConn. And how cool is it to see Terrace Reed emerge as a big time star?
Yeah, or Braylon Mullins. I don't know if people know the story. We talked to Braylon during his recruitment. Big time guy out of Indiana, really liked Michigan, named after Braylon Edwards, but he went on that UConn trip first, and that set the bar, and he never really looked back. So, but good to see those guys have the success they did. But time for that to end if it happens. If they have to match up against Michigan. Tim, I know you got to get out of here as you got some places to be this morning, but man, great to have you on previewing what our Wolverines are doing and what we expect them to do. And we'll see you down in Indy.
Go Blue, Sam.
That's going to do it for the Michigan Basketball Insider. And of